if you are in customer experience, we have to talk storytelling. Chances are you're pitching the same vision to your CEO, to your product lead, to your practitioners, but only the practitioners get it, and the other two conversations are going nowhere, right? And your budget, your champions, your momentum goes with them. Do you know how many organizations I actually know that can't solve issues at the source if they do not actually fix this simple storytelling problem? In this video, I want to take a moment to take you through like a messaging framework that helps me on how to map on which case to make, how to make it, and depending on who actually is in the room. And it's pretty simple, but in the end, you'll be able to diagnose exactly why your message isn't landing, why it is landing, but also get a messaging stack to make the right argument for the right audience. I'll give an example and then we're going to talk through the framework. I'm working with one of Europe's leading energy companies. Customer experience is helping the customer service leader who has too many low-value calls. And they have a mandate from the top. The CEO sets priorities on cutting costs in customer service. So the service leader is accountable for cutting costs, but to solve things that the people they serve actually call for, he has to get product to prioritize specific features on their roadmaps, because solving issues at the source is actually resolving the problems they have. He can't optimize his call center, even if he has the most fancy AI solutions to replace agents with AI. People will still call for the things that can be preventing them to call in the first place. Okay, so typical customer experience scenario. All right, so let's think about these three different audiences in three different buckets. The first step is like getting the right argument in front of the right person, and understanding how to know who you're talking to is essential. So let's start with the out of CX crowd, the people who don't have the time or motivations to go deep on experience, right? This is where your CEO sits, your COOs, operations leaders. They have heard customer experience enough times. That is background noise, okay? They pay lip service to it, but what they care about is operational outcomes. And they'll fine-tune it to anything that doesn't connect to those within the first 2 minutes. In the middle, the CX but not expert group. Okay, this is the second group you're dealing with. People who have real interest, that get that experience matters, but they don't know the methodology. Your product leaders, your marketing, brand people, they are bought into the why but fuzzy on the how, because they care about experience, but in their own domain. Okay, so they care about improving the experience, but from their own perspective, not seeing how it all connects. And on the other end, that is your group that you already resonate well with, which are the practitioners, the CX experts, the people who live in this work every day, the head of customer experience, customer insights teams, journey owners. They speak the language, they know the tools, they will be able to help you help them. They see through anything that isn't precise. Okay, so you have a business, the same business, but you have three completely different conversations to be had to get things done. Now, I want to break down the messaging and how it's different for when you're speaking to each of them. So we can start with the hardest audience, right? The people who are out of customer experience entirely. For them, you want to lead with outcome. Specifically in this case, reducing the cost to serve. Not improving experience, not which journeys are important, not that onboarding digital customers is important, more important than the non-digital customers. No, you're talking to an audience that has a KPI that they care about. And this is the move that most CX people resist the hardest, because it feels like you're abandoning the experience angle. You are not. You're walking through the door that they've already opened. And I think like this is the important thing to realize, that if you want to talk to them, you only speak about the tip of the iceberg of all the work that you're doing, of all the knowledge you have about the experience, but it's about what that tip matches their reality. What you're pushing against is the implicit belief that things are already fine on cost, right? They're not looking for a new approach because they don't think they need one. So what you're actually going to expose is that, okay, to really solve these issues at the source, we need to take the low value calls and actually like get it onto the product priorities. But to do that, you need their help. Your job is to make the gap visible, and then also that there's a faster route to the existing targets that they're not on yet. That is what matters a lot. So the main argument is we can help you hit your operational KPIs faster than what you're doing today. Don't mention journeys, no methodology, just speed and a number they recognize, right? That's enough to earn like a second meeting. The customer experience conversation comes later. So let's go to the middle layer, your product leaders, the people that are vouching for CX but are not experts, right? Already bought in on experience that it matters, but without a clear picture how to operationalize it outside of their own team, outside of the roadmap, outside of the priorities they have, because their teams need to ship. So in this case, like, it's about leading with the use case, right? Building an experience-led brand is wonderful for your brand team, but you're not selling the idea that experience matters. They already believe it. For the product leader, they care about their retention, their monthly active users, the volume that they're seeing in those products go up, the conversion rates to specific moments that matter. You're selling the output, a brand that actively competes on customer experience, or a product that is actually keeping customers, retaining usage. And I think, like, if you think about it in that way, tying the actual problem of solving the cost component in service and getting things on the roadmap is actually something that you're bringing together. What you're pushing against is the belief that a strategy deck from customer experience is enough. Like, here's how to operationalize it, here's the insights. Because this group will spend 6 months in a workshop and never operationalize a thing if you let them. What happens is the CX, the service leaders, are speaking a language that doesn't resonate with product. Oh, we need to cut cost. Oh, we need this feature because it will reduce call volume. You're getting close, but it's not close enough because they have different KPIs. They have different priorities. Well, look, lucky if they match up and you can do something. Better if you can then also explain how it is helping them to retain customers, to increase adoption of a specific feature that they care about. The message is, strategy alone doesn't build an experience-led brand. Strategy alone doesn't shape the roadmap. You need like an operational translation from what it matters to one team to, and the main argument bridges back to cost deliberately, because this group still has to defend their investments internally, right? Often the out of CX people we just talked about. So you give them the commercial case they need. There's a better way to cut cost, and it runs through improving experience that ultimately leads to feature adoption, that is helping your users to retain this capability because they want to do X but can't, and therefore they're calling service, which is a problem that you can fix, and it will help your metrics as well. So don't go around it. Don't talk only about what you care about. Frame it in a way that they care about. Back to the third audience, right? The CX experts, the practitioners who already know the methodology, work with it daily, and see through the vague language immediately. Okay, so if you think about journey management, here and only here you lead with the technology, specifically AI-powered technology that makes their work life a lot easier, more consistent, helps them scale, govern more, because this is the only audience with the context to understand what it means and why it matters. Look at this row, right? Outcomes, use case, technology, same product, 3 completely different opening arguments. Most CX leaders lead with technology for every audience. And it's the version of the pitch that you're proudest of because you care about it, you understand it. And when those conversations go nowhere, the instinct is to wonder what's wrong with the argument. And usually nothing is. It's just like the wrong audience, the wrong message. When your customer experience message isn't landing, when they don't care about journey management, when they don't care about context for humans and AI to bring all of that together, why don't you check the lead with ... first? The chances are it was built for a different audience than the one sitting in front of you. So the person sitting in front of you, where, in which bucket would they belong? From the CX expert, the rest of the stack follows naturally, and you're messaging against competing platforms. The only audience where the positioning matters because they're the only ones who know the landscape. For the in-CX expert, the rest of the stack follows naturally. You're messaging against competing platforms, the only audience where the positioning matters because they're the only ones who know the landscape end to end. Okay, and the main argument is the simplest of the 3. Journey management is the way forward. We have to connect the dots from low-value calls and see the through line where they originate from. What's the source and how that customer experience is materializing problems across different teams. There's no warm-up required, right? These people are already in the room. They get it. Before we end, There are two mistakes worth naming because both are easily to fall into once you know the framework, right? So the first mistake I'm seeing people do is delivering multiple arguments at once, sometimes even all three at once. The temptation when you get someone's attention is to give them the full picture. Here's the cost, here's the brand impact, here's technology, here's methodology, here's how product will do differently, all on one page. What actually happens is you confuse the out of CX and the in CX non-expert audiences, while the in CX expert is wondering why you're covering the basics they already know. It's a big mistake. Just split them up and make clear that who you're talking to, or there might be different people from different buckets in the same room, but you're still addressing one audience with one message. So that's the second mistake I'm seeing people make, mixing messages across these different audiences. Pitching journey management to someone who's never thought about the customer journey. They care about the KPI, they care about operational efficiency. Or leading with brand strategy in a room full of CFOs, right? Experience-led brand. Here's the benefits of that. Wonderful, but what cost are we cutting? Each person needs the argument that was built for them where they already are. If your CX messaging isn't landing with the CEO, check whether you led with business impact. It's a simple check, and sometimes we forget it completely. Or did you try to sell them journeys before they cared about connecting the dots across experience at all? If it isn't landing with your marketing leader, like check what you gave them, a strategy conversation or an actual use case with a commercial argument underneath it. If it isn't landing with the expert, check whether you led with the details of the technology or you tried to rebuild conviction of something they already believed and you stayed on the surface level, which is the wrong way to approach it. The work doesn't change. The product doesn't change. What changes is how you lead with what use case, with what argument, and the belief that you're building against. So that's actually like a really simple framework to think of. 3 audiences, which have 3 different message stacks, and one underlying promise that you are tying these things together using a journey-centric approach to tying the data and therefore the priorities of the business together. Let me know in the comments if this is useful, if this is helping you. And also, would love to hear a story when you were talking to the wrong audience with the right message, or therefore with the wrong message to the right audience. Let me know. All right, and that's it. Thank you so much for listening. If you found this valuable today, don't forget to subscribe to the Experience Edge on your favorite podcast channel, leave a review, and share it with your team. I'd be delighted. Today's episode was brought to you by Daydo, the AI journey management solution for enterprise. To have an edge on your business strategy and to know why your customers do what they do, visit daydo.com and explore more resources to accelerate your customer experience game. And remember, the journey to creating customer-centric impact never ends, and here's always a new edge to discover in doing things differently. Next week, new episode. Until then, keep pushing the edge and stay inspired. See you in the next episode.